Hello everybody, my name is Austin Roberts. I'm the product manager over our stainless steel flat shaped and SLT materials here at Fort Wayne Metals.
Hello, I'm Michael Soto, the SLT engineer.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about SLT from Fort Wayne Metals. When you think of standard round wire in a spool, you're going to imagine a cast as that material comes off the spool. Our SLT is different in that when the material comes off the spool, it is actually straight. So while the processing is different between our standard round wire and SLT during the straightening, we can still meet the same mechanical properties that we would with a standard round wire, which is beneficial to customers like yourselves. So typically SLT is offered as 304V is the alloy. That's what most of our data is under. However, we are open to trialing some additional alloys per customer request. One thing to note is that our straightness and grindability information for those alloys is limited, so it might be a best effort basis as we do our first trial run, depending on what alloy and size that you are requesting. Typical sizes right now are 2 thousandths of an inch up to 40 thousandths of an inch. That size range may increase as we increase our capabilities with equipment and just overall processing improvements. Typically, SLT is offered in full hard condition up to high 10 depending on size, and that typically is so the material will stay straight when coming off the spool and not conform. So one risk if you were to go lower tensile than full hard, that material would likely be too soft and start conforming to the spool, which will lose one of the main benefits of our SLT. So Michael, would you be able to go into some more detail on what separates SLT versus standard round wire?
Of course, thank you, Austin. So we have two types of SLT right now, type 3 and type 4, both of which are measured against ASTM F2819. So we're going to cover type 3 SLT first. Type 3 SLT can be spooled or cut to length and can be ground up to 90% of the cross-sectional area. While I do say that it can be ground up to 90% cross-sectional area, it does not mean that you're able to do more than that. The only risk that you might run into is potential waviness or other straightness variables post-grind. Our other type of SLT, type 4, is only offered on cut to lengths. As I mentioned for type 3, the same can be said for type 4 about grinding more than that.
All right, thanks Michael. So one additional benefit of SLT as we're talking about grindability is that there's no need for additional processes or tip anneal once you receive our material in order to grind. So once you receive the material at your facility, you can take it straight off the spool or cut to length and immediately start grinding, which takes away from additional processing steps on your side you would typically see versus rotary straight and cut. Another positive aspect of SLT is the one-to-one torque response. So imagine if you're rotating the proximal end 45 degrees, the distal end is also going to match that exact same 45 degree, which is critical for most applications SLT is used in. So when we're receiving our new request from a customer for either type 3 or type 4, Michael, would you be able to go into some of the things that we look for to make sure that we're producing the right material to meet a customer's application?
Yeah, of course. So some of the things that's really helpful for us knowing up front are things like your application. And obviously you can share as much as you can. We don't expect to know everything about what you're doing. So that's one thing. A straightness requirement is also beneficial. Obviously, as we mentioned earlier, SLT is straight wire straight off the spool. So understanding your straightness requirements will, again, help us to determine which type of SLT you require. Some other beneficial information to know is whether you're going to be grinding the material and to what diameter you'll be grinding onto. Lastly, some things that are good to know is whether the material will be coated. If you are ordering cut to length material, it's beneficial to understand which cut to length you are requiring and what tolerancing.
Thank you, everybody. That's all we had for today. As always, if you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to your sales rep or customer service associate. We can have a conversation and deep dive into your application to find out which type of SLT would work best for you. Thank you.
Thank you.